What's going on, everyone? It's LJ, and it's time for another one of my favorite kind of vinyl updates, the catch-all update, the random update, the it didn't fit in a rock and metal or honky-tonkin' country update, the I tried it as a blind buy and it worked or it didn't update, the what the hell are you listening to update. Yeah, one of those. First is a UK 7-inch. This is The Alarm. This is a track, Knife Edge, from their album Strength. And these are cool. I don't usually collect singles, but when they show up and, you know, they're pretty cool UK gatefolds like that, why not? And The Alarm's a great band. I mean, Mike Peters has a great voice. This has Caroline Eisenberg as a B-side, which is a non-album B-side. Kind of the cool for a US person 7-inch that doesn't have the hole punched out in the middle. And there was another 7-inch single that turned up at the same time, and that is from 1986, and it's Simple Minds, Sanctify Yourself. Simple Minds is a killer band. Jim Kerr on vocals, again, another absolutely amazing 80s rock voice, right up there with like a Bono. And this has 2 tracks from Once Upon a Time, Sanctify Yourself, it and the instrumental version, and then another track from each of the albums that came before it, Street Hassle and Love Song, and both of those are recorded live. And Simple Minds was just riding sky high on the success of Don't You Forget About Me track from The Breakfast Club. These are the 2 7-inches that come in it. So again, it's like a gatefold full size, but it's a 7-inch. So here they are, again, standard black singles, but they're UK pressings. Great songs, great bands, cool releases, why not? Now, in my last video, which was Music in the Mail, and I was saying thank you to a package that vinyl community member and musician Bruno Ender Lee had sent over to me. Prior to that, Bruno had sent me his vinyl release, Hope Beyond Menace. I had absolutely no idea what to expect. I mean, I had listened to a lot of Bruno's music when he posts it on YouTube, and it's just amazing stuff. You know, it's Bruno in his music room, his studio, and he's just got all these keyboards all around, and Korgs and synthesizers and plugs in the wall with all these cords like, you know, an AT&T telephone operator. And I mean, he knows where everyone goes, and it's all these lights. I mean, you are like you're inside the spaceship. Fantastic cover art, just absolutely amazing, commissioned just for this release. Now, what you have and what it immediately reminds me of is Blade Runner. So side 1 is Menace. It is a monster. It's actually kind of scary. And then the second side, Hope, you expect reprieve, resolution. All that's obvious is that Menace is still in the building. Hope has just found somewhere to hide from Menace racing up its backside. Hope is bleak. I mean, this album had my speakers doing things that they've just never done, producing sounds that had people checking on me. What is happening in there? There is a link below to Bruno's Bandcamp where you can download a copy of this or contact Bruno if you'd like to get a vinyl copy as well. Absolutely amazing. Bruno, thank you so much. What a special album to have in the collection. Next up from 1989 is a blind buy, and it is Nick Cave's soundtrack to the film Ghosts of the Civil Dead. This is a UK import, and it's a film about an outbreak of violence in a maximum security prison. Really musically sparse. It has spoken word dialogue that helps to carry the story across. I don't know how many people that watch this have ever seen the movie. I certainly never have. It was an interesting soundtrack. But you've got some kind of cool radio sounding interviews, you know, with the person or the deputy or the security officer, and then kind of music cuts in. It's very atmospheric. Not the kind of album I would normally buy, but I just decided to shoot the dice on it and see what happened. Now here's an album that I was really amped to find. This one was very cool and I loved it, and that is Teenage Fanclub's very first album from 1990, A Catholic Education. Scottish guitar-driven alternative rock from 1990. You bring in Sonic Youth, Dinosaur Jr., Jesus and Mary Chain, pull them all in, and you've got some kind of psyche, garage, rock alternative, huge guitar hooks. This is an original first pressing on Matador Records. Freaking killer album. Could not believe we were face to face. We were eye to eye, me and you. Come on! I'm a huge Who fan. This is a compilation I didn't have, and as everyone else probably sees everywhere. I had just never seen it. Who's better? Who's best? It's from 1988. This used to belong to a gentleman by the name of Anderson. Anderson, I have your Who record. Very cool album. I almost didn't grab it. I mean, because, come on, you really need another Who compilation. But what convinced me was this write-up. That and the inclusion of Join Together, which for me is one of my absolute favorite Who tracks ever. And you have shortened versions of Won't Get Fooled Again and a couple, Who Are You? Like the radio edits. It's one of those records that you put the needle on and you're just truly impressed by the sound quality. It was a big wow moment. Huge welcome addition to the collection. Love the Who. Next up is one from 1984 that I had never even seen or heard of before, and it's a Texas-based band. This is their first EP, and the name of the band and album is Scratch Acid. This is an album that I read while listening to it was one of Kurt Cobain's 10 favorite albums. Now, I'm not a big Kurt Cobain fan, and I really don't even like Nirvana, but it's still cool to hear that it had kind of reached him, and he had mentioned it or found cause to mention it. It's a first US press on Rabid Cat Records. I didn't dig it that much on the first spin through. It was kind of, it was punk in a lot of parts, and then just noise rock in other parts. One, I'm not sure if it'll be staying in the collection or not. The songs are pretty short. The whole thing moves along really quick. Not just necessarily my cup of tea. Now, we'll see what happens. Maybe it'll stay. There's always albums out there that everyone else gets, but you don't, right? Here's one for me, and this is the second LP and final LP from Kentucky's Slint. And this is Spiderland. This is from 1991. It's an original first pressing on Touch and Go Records. I know this record has been reissued. What I don't often see around are original first pressings. I decided to roll the dice on it. Let's see what it's all about. And for me, what it's all about is long drawn out songs, spoken dialogue, intentionally unsettling. It's, you know, it's not atmospheric, you know, so it's unsettling because it's atmospheric. No, it's like, hey, let's make an intentionally unsettling album. And for that, it just comes off as complete self-indulgence. Use the comments. Tell me what I'm missing. Why didn't I connect with it? Why does everybody like it so much? I don't get it. I'm gone. You can't like them all. Otherwise, you don't every album ever created. Here's a reissue that I had had my eyes on for a long time. I own an original from 1987, but U2's The Joshua Tree is just a wonderful, wonderful album. I absolutely love this album. I have since the day it was released, and that's not going to change anytime soon. For me, after this record was made, U2 ceased to exist as a band. U2 ceased to have anything important to say, and it was the importance of U2's message that propelled them into great rock albums. They had a message. What it was didn't matter to me, and probably not to you either, but it was a message that empowered them to just drive those albums. Here are the inner sleeves that come with it. So again, one of the big mistakes for me, I think that they made here, is that they expanded it to a 2 LP set to give it room to breathe. It didn't need room to breathe. It already sounded fine. I have an original that sounds great. Here's the other sleeve. Now, when I found it in the shop, I'm like, why is this on sale? And I pulled it out. Records look dead mint. Vinyl looks dead mint. There's 2 record 1s in here. Record 2 was in there, but it's mislabeled. It has the label from record 1 on record 1 and record 2, and that makes it pretty darn cool. And because of that, it is now here in my collection. What do you think of this album? Come on, you know it's amazing. Here's an album that's been out for the past few years that I've really just never gotten around to picking up, and I always see it, and it's always inexpensive, and I always just pass it by. But here is Wayne Hancock's Ride, and this copy actually happens to be signed by Mr. Hancock himself. Who is Wayne Hancock? Wayne Hancock is the king of juke joint swing. Classic country, classic rhythm and blues in here. Compare Wayne Hancock to like a Hank 3, a Hank Williams 3, that kind of album. And this is an absolutely fantastic album. Cool, classic, Americana, hit the road, kind of classic country juke joint swing. Great stuff. Next up, you have 2 mid-80s compilations in Atlantic Rhythm and Blues, 1947 to 1974. This is Volume 2 and 3. Volume 2 covers 1952 to 1955, and Volume 3 covers 1955 to 1958. Songs that would later be recorded by people like Bobby Darin and Elvis Presley and so forth. These are on Atlantic, so it's just standard Atlantic label, no reason to take them out. But what's really neat is that there is a bio about each song and each artist inside the album. These turned up in just great shape, and you know, every now and then I am all for just throwing on an album that's got some classic Joe Turner, Ray Charles. It's just great collections to have. It'd be really cool to see if somewhere over time volumes 1 and 4 and 5 turn up. Would love to add them to the collection. These were really cool. If you see them out there in the wild, grab them. They're fantastic. 50 years, 50 members passed through your ranks. That says something. Here is Rhode Island's Room Full of Blues. And this is a live album recorded and released in 1986 at Rhode Island's own Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel, and a studio album released in 1984. Dressed Up to Get Messed Up. No expectations. I was blind buying at this point. Dressed Up to Get Messed Up kind of sounds like an 80s blues kind of album, kind of a Robert Cray kind of thing. The Live at Lupo's Heartbreak Hotel one actually sounds a lot like a Blues Brothers live review. Everyone has seen the Blues Brothers. So you've got that swing revival and blues sound, like, you know, from the end of the movie where they're really going after it, that live performance. And that's what this one sounds like. Neither one of them did anything for me. So again, if it's something that you'd really like to add to your collection, shoot me a DM. Let's talk. Let's trade. They could be yours. So the next two are also from the 80s and were also blind buys. And I was told it was country, western, new wave. Weirder things have happened. Rubber Rodeo, 1984's Scenic Views, and 1986's Heartbreak Highway. These weren't exactly $100 records. So you kind of look at them and, you know, it looks kind of Americana-ish, something maybe roots rock, and I'll just let you stare at these pictures while I talk about them. What it turned out to be is really more just straight absolute pop. Where are the country elements? Both of them were just absolutely confusing. Neither one of them worked. Sorry, I've been rubber rodeoed. Thankfully, things turn around as we wind up this video with two albums from Jason and the Scorchers. You know, I never paid enough attention or really much of any attention to Jason and the Scorchers back in the day. They have a promo copy of Lost and Found, and we have a copy of Still Standing. Two country for rock, two rock for country, two ahead of their time, too damn bad. Because these are fantastic. There's a really cool cover of Stone's 19th Nervous Breakdown. Some really, really great guitar rock. Highly recommend either of them. Definitely be looking out for any that I'm missing going forward. And that's it for this update. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a comment if you have one. I'll see you in the next video. Later.